Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for sharing your time with us today. We're really looking forward to sharing some tips and techniques and tools for engaging the folks that you work with and beyond during Child Abuse Prevention Month and also year-round. I want to take a few minutes to talk just a little bit about Prevent Child Abuse Kentucky, who we are, our mission, and also the actual resources that are available for child care out in your communities. We are a statewide nonprofit, so we are located, our office is located in Lexington, but we travel all around the state in order to reach out to local communities and get folks involved in child abuse prevention. Our mission is specifically to prevent the abuse and neglect of Kentucky's children, which is a really short sentence, but a very tall order. And we recognize having a staff of 7 full-time and 1 part-time person that there is no way we would be able to reach all of the children and families of Kentucky without important arms out into the communities. And I really see child care providers and the world of child care professionals as that arm. Each of you and the providers that you serve are on the front lines. You are supporting families and nurturing children daily, and those are keys to preventing abuse and neglect in our communities. Other ways that Prevent Child Abuse Kentucky reaches out to our communities is through community programs, public education, and also advocacy. Some of the resources that we have available, our community programs encompass child sexual abuse prevention, training, Child Abuse Prevention Month. We have an annual Kids Are Worth It conference. Plus, we have a very large network of partners throughout the state, both through parent education and support groups, as well as more of the non-traditional partners, groups, organizations, and entities who have really committed to ensuring that prevention happens in your communities. Specific for child care, we have workshops on preventing pediatric abusive head trauma, Stewards of Children, which focuses on the adult responsibility for preventing child sexual abuse, recognizing, reporting, and preventing child abuse and neglect, which also covers our state laws on mandated reporting. We have additional training that we can individualize based on your needs, and then we also have technical assistance available if you're looking for ways to engage fathers, engage parents, and possibly expand on that prevention role. We will talk a little bit later and show a preview of the brochures that we have available through our agency. We have those both in actual print copy and then reformatted through our website to make them easily printable and copied in centers. We also have a parent support program called 1-800-CHILDREN, and that is a free resource, a free number that can be shared with staff and also with families, where if someone is in need of a supportive voice, parenting resources, or support, they can contact a live person at our agency to talk through making sure that their needs are met. We also have a portion of that available through our website in an online searchable directory. I thought I'd take just a few minutes to talk about our beliefs about prevention. First of all, we really believe that it is possible to prevent abuse and neglect, to keep abuse and neglect from ever happening in the first place. And we believe that every child deserves to grow in a happy, loving, and nurturing environment. And we recognize that it's not easy and it may not be fast, but it can be done with the right level of commitment from us all. So one thing I'd like to challenge each of you to consider today is, what are all the many ways that you interact with the community to support children and families, not just through the child care environment, but also beyond that, through your spheres of influence. Might there be community organizations that you're involved with, local faith-based groups, just thinking in a broad way about all of the types of impact that you may have in your community. And the reason for that is because almost everyone wants the best for children. And if we come together, we can unite around the goal of prevention, which will then expand the reach of child abuse prevention throughout our entire state. Prevent Child Abuse Kentucky really believes that most parents, all parents actually, want what is best for their children. And when we think about at-risk families, it's really important to recognize that parents are just like us. They just may be struggling with challenges, that they may be reaching their limit or facing stressors that make parenting that much more of a challenge. And some of those stressors include poverty, substance abuse, having a history of abuse in their own families, untreated mental health issues, sudden life changes, or a series of traumatic events that rapidly have come and affected their lives. And we really believe that through supporting families during these challenging times, that children will receive the nurturing care that they need, and that there are ways that we in the community can support families who are struggling to provide a stronger foundation for families who are at risk. We also believe that everyone has a role to play in prevention, and that role may look different for different groups and different people, but everyone has a role that they can play. You know, I like to think about prevention as the tools and techniques that we use to strengthen families and nurture children, and I think about that in a really broad a broad way. So some of the ways of helping at-risk families could be by building strengths, really focusing on the strengths that a family has rather than focusing on the challenges. By enhancing those strengths, you can at the same time reduce stress and reduce challenges. Remembering that if families are stressed with poverty, they need concrete assistance. So what are the resources, the concrete, tangible resources in your community that you might be able to connect the family with to help reduce the stress and strain and impact of poverty? If they're struggling with the concepts of parenting, if they're struggling with knowing exactly how to handle certain behaviors, that is our job, and especially the job of child care, to help teach them. Something that I've learned throughout doing training with child care providers for such a long time is that, you know, you all are the experts. You're the experts in child development, and you're the experts in being able to redirect negative behaviors. And not every parent has that information, and not every parent has a resource readily accessible to them. So especially the parents that we're serving through the child care environment, empowering providers to play that role, to feel confident in their role of being an expert in child development and sharing those resources and teaching parents can be a strong prevention tool. Lastly, recognizing that if parents are lonely, if families are struggling with isolation, that it's our job to befriend them. It's our job to become that supportive network that can wrap around them to help ensure that they do not feel like they are parenting in isolation.
This is Jana, and I'm going to get into a little bit of statistics here regarding what we can provide. It's a quick overview that will kind of pave the way for the next few items that we'll discuss. Last year, Prevent Child Abuse Kentucky distributed over 192,981 child abuse prevention awareness materials across the state. Now, these materials could look like brochures, They can look like flyers or posters or various materials. A lot of people are familiar with the Never Shake a Baby poster. That is a good example of one of those materials that's out there. We had 167 community events that were held during Child Abuse Prevention Month last year, and of those events, staff attended 47. I'll give you a little bit information later on those different types of events that occur. And additionally, it kind of explained how staff are there to help provide technical assistance and help folks see their way through these events. We had 47,231 pinwheels distributed to 79 agencies, serving 79 of Kentucky's 120 counties throughout the state. Now you see that 79 of Kentucky's 120 counties, our goal would be for that to be all 120 counties. So hopefully as we talk more about pinwheels for prevention, we can get others motivated as to how they can help us get that messaging out so we can cover every Kentucky community. As mentioned, April is Child Abuse Prevention Month via gubernatorial proclamation. It's not only Child Abuse Prevention Month in Kentucky, but nationwide as well. This is a time that we utilize awareness and outreach to bring the subject of health and well-being of families and children to the forefront. So hopefully it's a springboard so that efforts can occur year-round, not only during April. Coming up, we're going to discuss about different ways in which this can be accomplished. Ways to support families and children during Child Abuse Prevention Month. Starting off the bat, raise awareness and educate parents, staff, and communities. People can do this through various ways. Some ways that have been accessible, they have held events. And when people say events, a lot of people think there's a lot to that. That's a lot of work, but not necessarily. Events can be something very simple. It can even be taking a event that's currently going on and planned and implementing different ways to bring child abuse prevention awareness into those events. People like to have resource fairs and get others involved, such as the fire department or the local police or the health department. We talk about ways to prevent child abuse and neglect in families by providing them with resources. That's a great way, getting those other folks in the community there that have those resources so they can help educate those parents. Ensure leaders, volunteers, and parents are trained to recognize the signs and symptoms of abuse and neglect. Kate touched on earlier at the beginning several of the things that Prevent Child Abuse Kentucky offers. One of those is trainings, ensuring that those leaders and volunteers have the eye, have the knowledge to where they can recognize the signs and symptoms, and not only recognize child abuse, but recognize families that might be at risk, that might have the potential, so you can be there as a support for those folks. Stay informed about community resources. Know about the resources, know what the Community Action Council provides, know about the various resources through early child care. There are a lot of great resources out there with already set brochures and flyers can be downloaded easily for families so that they can share that information with caregivers as they come into various daycare centers. Get involved in Child Abuse Prevention Month and participate in Pills and Meals for Prevention. There are many ways to involve your spheres of influence, and one great thing is on our website at www.pcaky.org. We have a lot of information. We have different pages set up regarding Child Abuse Prevention Month or resources in general. And these information can be examples of materials that you can order, or they can be materials that you can just click to download free of charge and print off yourself. Pinwheels for prevention. Most people, I think, are becoming more and more familiar with the pinwheel. It is blue and silver, and it's the national symbol for child abuse prevention. It was chosen to represent hope and promise. When individuals take part in the campaign, that they are making the statement that every child deserves to be raised in a healthy and safe and nurturing environment. And it's our hope that this image can positively help impact the way the public views children, as well as the prevention of child abuse and neglect. And again, On our website, we have lots of information available for the Pinwheels for Prevention campaign, including a full toolkit that has resources, photos, examples. One of my favorite parts of that website, we have a library of different media articles that media from around the state have picked up on, so you can actually read of various examples throughout our state of what other folks have accomplished through this campaign. A great example, and what a lot of people like to do, is plant a pinwheel garden. This photo comes to us from Campbellsville University social work students, and they came together and said, hey, we're going to plant a pinwheel garden in a highly visible area on our campus where folks can see the garden and think, hey, what is that? And of course, one important key is to have signage associated with that pinwheel garden so people know exactly why the pinwheels are there. A great example, we have a Child Care Center, and we'll just call it 123 Child Care Center. And 123 Child Care Center had an example signage by their garden, and it was really great because it represented their commitment as staff. And the signage said, these 25 pinwheels are planted in honor of our staff dedicated to the children in our community. So that is a very positive, good promotional tool for child care providers as well. Get parents involved. Kate's going to talk a little bit more to us about just how we can do that.
There are many different ways that parents can become involved with Child Abuse Prevention Month. You could host a family night, and I know lots of places already have regular family nights scheduled, and so maybe the one during April could focus on a family activity or ways to bring children and their parents together for that quality time. And in my child care center, I've been very fortunate to have my teachers caring for my children for almost 5 years now, and every year what they do is they have a little snack time with parents. So the parents come in after nap during the regularly scheduled snack, and then they talk with their children while the children then color Pinwheels for Prevention. And it's just a fun, nice way to support that family environment and that nurturing environment while also raising awareness on prevention. Other ideas are sending home tip sheets, and they could be on topics like spending quality time with children, reading together, playing together, just focusing on some of those activities that strengthen that family bond. This is an example. We have an example of the pinwheel coloring sheet that's available on the PCAK website at www.pcaky.org. And one thing that I love about this is that it could be used at restaurants, it could be used in child care centers, it can be used in doctors' offices, it can be used really anywhere that children might have a few minutes to sit and color or paint the pinwheel. The other thing that I really like about it is that it's so easily downloaded and printed from our website, and so that can be then copied, or extra copies can be printed as well. Other ideas are getting volunteers together to read a book for children, or partner for a craft night where kids can make their own pinwheels for prevention. It's such a fun way to get people thinking about the joys of childhood and to also offer free or low-cost activities for the community. We like to see around the state, one of the things that excites me are when everybody starts to throw their signs up, so to speak. This is an example where Tates Creek Elementary School just brought up a little bit of information for the community on how April is National Child Abuse Prevention Month. Some other ideas might be using a banner that has a pinwheel on it or says Child Abuse Prevention Month. In my community, we have a family resource center that puts up a banner, and then they stick pinwheels in there knowing that somebody's going to come and take those pinwheels without permission each year. That's just something they expect, so that it'll get that conversation started. Yard signs are also available through Prevent Child Abuse Kentucky. This is something that you can simply place in front of a child care center that sends that message of everyone having a role to play and asking folks to commit to being a part of that prevention solution. Collaboration is key, involving schools, businesses, anybody in the community that might like to be involved. I really like this picture because it shows that, older children or older youth can get involved as well. In this example, we had a group of high school students in Fleming County who created posters to display in local businesses promoting child abuse awareness. Other ideas might be having your local high school send some volunteers to do an activity for a period of time with the children in your center or in your community. Also getting after-school programs involved, programs where the children are a little bit older who are in care.
Involve leadership. I love this next bullet. Thank staff. Oftentimes I think, staff are not thanked enough. Recognize staff activities which nurture children, and even further, recognize those staff members who go the extra mile to nurture relationships with parents. A great example of this is actually through Kate's daycare. They have what's called a high five board. And on that high five board, they have cutouts of hands where parents or anyone can write a little blurb on that hand recognizing a staff member who's gone above and beyond. I love that concept, and you can even take it into a pinwheel and have those pinwheels that kids can color and draw on and write a message to how somebody has made a difference in their life, what staff member has helped them out. Next we have one of my favorite examples out of Corbin, Kentucky. Corbin brought together comprehensive care agencies, child care agency, law enforcement, schools, parents, and what they did is, you'll notice the little chain, they had the slogan, "Lock Out Child Abuse." So they were locking out child abuse out of Walmart and taking a stand saying, hey, as a community, we're going to come together and become involved and put this message out there. This Walmart also had posters inside the Walmart that children had colored to promote awareness throughout the city as well. And it was really great because the parents got to come in there with the kids, and the kids were delighted to show off their artwork and show everybody, hey, that's what I did. Decorate with blue ribbons. I think most folks are familiar with the blue ribbon as a symbol for child abuse and neglect. And as the pinwheel is that more child-friendly, safe image, we've steered more that way. However, resources can be somewhat sparse, and folks might have blue ribbon laying around, or they might want to create blue ribbon decorations. I think the most important thing is that awareness, so whether you want to create awareness with a pinwheel or a ribbon, that's up to you as long as the awareness gets out there. Another creative idea is this blue ribbon tree that comes to us from a school hallway. Great examples, they can decorate hallways and doors, make pinwheels or blue ribbons, but make sure it's a high traffic area, that way folks can see it, and as always have messaging associated with it so people don't walk by and say, oh, that's cute, but what does it mean? Here's another great example, getting children involved. Have them create their own pinwheels. On the pcaky.org website, we have instructions on how people can create their own pinwheel out of various materials. It's a fun, friendly thing for children to get involved in. On the next slide, we have a good example of how they have turned that messaging into a friendship tree. We decorate and have craft ideas for Valentine's Day and Christmas, and my child decorated a pumpkin for me when she was 8 months old during Halloween. Wouldn't it be great if everybody could decorate a pinwheel or something during April, that they could show their appreciation for their parents or those other caregivers, and give them a craft in April so we can, promote Child Abuse Prevention Month like we do Valentine's Day. Love this. This is an example of how adults have decorated. This is a library out of central Kentucky. And another great example, we've had schools that will decorate pinwheels, cut them out, and place them in the window panes, just like this pinwheel is decorated. We mentioned materials throughout this, and I think this is probably one of Prevent Child Abuse Kentucky's best kept secrets. We have these materials. Limited quantities free to ship out to you free of charge, even the shipping costs. Everything from Never Shaking a Baby, you see down the line, to Ages and Stages, A Parent's Guide for Discipline. These brochures are available. They're those nice, pretty, glossy printed materials that you can order and we can ship to you. And again, on the website, we have those nice one-page flyers we actually created for child care providers that they can download and print off as well. What's great with that is our coworker, Joe, you just have to email him, and his email address was on that slide. Just email him, and he'll be able to send you whatever your material needs are. You'll see it at the bottom, jsmith@pcaky.org. Now, we want to hear from you. We want to know your ideas. Is there something we did not touch on today and you think, oh, well, this would be perfect for child care? Let us know about that. Email us, call us. We have a PCAK events calendar. So should you or anyone you work with have an event you want publicized, please let us know. We'll be happy to do that for you. I mentioned the resources we have on our website. We also have an online Child Abuse Prevention Month toolkit. And in that toolkit, it gives examples of how you can ask others to commit to child abuse. For example, reading a book to a child. I know this upcoming Friday is National Read Day. Different examples like that. And it also has a great tip sheet for talking to children and others about child abuse and neglect prevention. It's such a subject that I think a lot of us might need some help navigating those waters, so that tip sheet is available. And we're here for technical assistance. We have a staff of 8 who are here ready and willing to help you with your needs, or anyone. Feel free to refer them to us for assistance, and we'll be happy to help folks with those needs. But we could not do it without you. As Kate mentioned, we have a staff of 8, and in order for us to prevent child abuse and neglect out there, we need your help. And so we want to thank you for everything that you do for families of children, because it is you who makes it all possible and makes it work. We have a question here. Have we attended a CECC meeting or regional collaborative meeting to share this information? And no, we have not. We would be happy and would love to do so.
Are there any additional questions? I know we filled that time pretty well there, but we're here to answer questions if you have them, and we're also available either via email or at our local office, which is 859-225-8879. Feel free to give us a call at any point in time, talk with staff about Child Abuse Prevention Month, share ideas, or let us know what you've already got in the works. We look forward to hearing from everybody.
Are there any additional questions for Jana and Kate? I know that time goes fast when you got so much to share. That half hour really went by. I don't see any questions coming up right now, but I just want to thank you all again for sharing your ideas and reminding us of the importance of the involvement of the whole community in preventing child abuse and how we can make sure that all the kids in Kentucky are safe and happy. So appreciate your time today, and appreciate the time of everybody that joined us. And as Jana and Kate said, they will be glad to, take questions afterwards from calling them up or on email, and everybody have a great day.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.